Hello everybody and welcome to a Souls tier list, but with a twist. This tier list will focus on how hard each game is to platinum. So for those of you who don't know, on PlayStation you can get trophies for doing things within a game like killing a certain boss or discovering a new area, joining a new covenant, but it all depends on the game you're playing. Things I'll be taking into account when placing each game in its position and how much extra you'll be doing within the game, not just like how hard each boss is or how hard each area is in the new game, because that's just saying how hard each game is. I'm talking about the platinum specifically, so I'll be talking about the extra stuff like the grinding or like farming for certain weapons. So yeah, I won't be accounting for how hard a game is in general, but more so how hard or grueling the activities that you'll be tasked to do are. Keep in mind that these are my experiences, so they'll probably differ from yours, those of you who have played any or all of the Souls games. So you probably won't agree with my ranking, but that's what's so great about having different opinions and different perspectives. Get to have great discussion about it. Anyways, enough of the introduction, let's kick the ranking off with number 7, the plat I believe to be the easiest, none other than Elden Ring. So, if you've got the plat for this game, and maybe you've got a plat for one of the other games, I think this should be like no surprise. Elden Ring is the easiest. Like for starters, you don't need to beat every boss. Only like a handful, all the main ones, and then a couple of side ones for that are the boss of like a side area. Along with this, you don't have to go out of your way to get every single weapon, every spirit ash, every talisman, sorcery, incantation. You only need like what was it, the legendary ones. So not all of them, just a handful of them. And another great thing is that none of them are missable, apart from one weapon. I think it's called the Ball of Grandsaps. That's the only missable one that you may not get. Other than that, everything can be done whenever you want, with your in your own pace, as long as you don't miss the one weapon, you should be good. So no grinding, there's no covenants in this game yet, so none of that stuff. As well as this, there's also the ending trophies, but you don't have to get every single ending. I know there's more than 3, you only need 3 for the plat. There's other ones, like the fear ending or the Dungit ending. There's other ones like that, but you don't need to go for them. Just the main 3. So because of those reasons, I think Elden Ring deserves the easiest, seventh and the easiest spot. For number 6, I'll be talking about Bloodborne. Now, Bloodborne was my first Souls game and introduction to the series. Uh, so I don't think it's too hard compared to the rest, but I still do think it's harder than Elden Ring, mainly for one trophy. But there are other reasons. To get this plat, you need to beat the base game in its entirety. So every single area, you can't. I'm not. I don't think you can skip anything. You have to kill every boss, visit every area, which for most people should have no issue anyway, because it's not a particularly long game. Another thing that you'll be tasked to do is to get all the hunter weapons and all the special hunter tools, like the cosmic stuff, like the auger of Abritus or that old hunter bone, stuff like that. Some of the weapons can be like easy to miss, and some of them you may need to go into New Game Plus to get, like German's scythe. What's it called? The burial blade. But it's not a big deal. You'll get most of them along the way. However, the main trophy that I'm sure everyone who's done this plat terrified of is the Yarnum Tremerian Queen trophy. To get this one, you must venture into the infamous, the oh so Terrifying chalice dungeons. Now, if you're like me and you left these all the way to the end of your playthrough, then you'll know how much of a drag and grind it is. As it takes much long. Maybe not much longer, but it takes a long time to get from layer 1 all the way to the end of layer 5. I think it takes like just as much time to do that than it to beat the base game. There are also some like tough encounters in the chalice dungeon, like the cursed chalice where you're fighting on half health. You need to fight the watchdog and the amygdala. Even the keep of the old lords is a pain in the ass to deal with. Um, Alongside this, you also need to get all 3 endings, so you need to play the game 3 times, or if you're like the rest of us, you make a backup save before fighting Gurman, so you can get all 3 endings in one. But yeah, I think I covered everything about Bloodborne. I'd say just just because of the chalice dungeons, I'd place it above Elden Ring for the 6th spot. Now in 5th place, we have Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. So far in this list, like we've had Elden Ring and we've had Bloodborne, and with the use of save scumming, if you wanted to, you could get those platinums in a single playthrough. But now we're venturing into territory of you having to play New Game Plus. You don't have a choice in the matter. It's the bare minimum that you need to go into a second playthrough. If you're not using save scum, I think it's like you gotta play 4 times. So the main trophies that require you to get into another playthrough is the trophy called Man Without Equal, which tasks you in being every single boss on the same character file, as well as Master of the Prosthetic, which requires you to upgrade every prosthetic tool to its maximum. Since these 2 trophies can be tedious and a bit of a grind, you want to get them done as soon as possible before going for what I think is the real grind when it comes to this platinum, which is the Height of Technique trophy. As this one, you'll need to get every single skill. You can't miss one. You need to get every single skill on each path, and this takes time. I think on my journey to the plat, it took me about 4 to 5 hours. 4 to 5, not 45. Grinding the same few enemies in Ashina Castle or New Game Plus, with the help of that one blazing bull on the bottom floor. But yeah, this was a doozy to get. Thankfully, I was watching some anime at the same time, so my mind wasn't dead at the time. Another thing is that you have to get all the endings again. There's 4 endings, so either 4 playthroughs or save scum and you can get more than one. But some of these endings are like they're hard to get. Like I think the one where what is it the purification one, that you need to do some proper out of the way stuff, like talking to NPCs at very specific times in like a very specific order, and discovering a whole secret area where you fight a secret boss. But yeah, the endings in this game they're pretty hidden and can be tough to get without looking up. I guess same with Elden Ring, but Elden Ring you got so much time and you can't miss anything, so that's the good thing about Elden Ring. But yeah, Sekiro, a lot of missable stuff, a lot of grind, but I think from here on out we're stepping it up a notch. 4th place, 4th hardest, 4th easiest. What would you say? Whatever. This is still the 4th place, and I think this is gonna have to go to Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin. I had quite some difficulty deciding between the rest of the list, but I think based on personal experience, I think Dark Souls 2 is right for this spot. This was my last game in the series to play, so I'd played all the others before this one, so I had a lot of experience with like grinding for common stuff and fighting the bosses and all that, playing New Game Plus. But so yeah, the Covenant grinding, it was fine. I wasn't bothered with it as I was for, let's say, like Dark Souls 3, and yeah, so that wasn't that bad. I was okay with the amount of grinding, but I think it's because in this in Dark Souls 2, I spreaded it between like sessions. I didn't leave it all the way to the end. And so yeah, you still need to do the usual for Souls game standards, like collecting every sorcery, every pyromancy, miracle, hex, and gesture. And because of this is and because we're on the skull of the first Sin edition, you also need to enter the DLC, which is the only game in the series to do this, which can be a bit turn off a few people, but I was fine with it. It may sound like a lot, and honestly, speaking about this, like I'm thinking, should it actually be fourth or should it go up or not? But I think this is the right spot because the top three is different. It's different sauce. It's different sauce to say the least. Coming in at third place is Dark Souls 1. Dark Souls 1 is the legend, the game that took the series off the ground, creating a subgenre we know as the Souls-like. But we're here to talk about the difficulty of the plot, and man, oh man, there's a plethora of things that you'll be doing and needing to keep track of as your journey progresses. There's the usual, like obtain both the endings, collecting all the spell types, and grinding for covenants. But it's within these trophies where the tediousness arises. Like for getting some of the spells, you need to get covenants to like rank 2, and for some of them you need to grind one. I remember specifically grinding them like bird-like enemies in the painted world. That was a huge pain in the ass. However, in Dark Souls 1 you'll also need to collect every rare weapon. There's 32 and some of them can be easily missable due to that interesting mechanic that is tail cutting. For those of you who haven't played Dark Souls 1 yet or forgotten, there are certain enemies or bosses where if you swing enough at their tail, you'll get chopped off and you'll be rewarded with a weapon. These are, they're easy to miss. I remember missing Seats 1 in my first playthrough because Bo didn't want to stick his tail next to me. He just kept moving. Annoying ass motherfucker. Also, Priscilla, that was a stressful one to get because she was invisible, of course, and like, I almost killed her because she has like such low health. But yeah, that's the tail cutting stuff. There's also the Channeler's Trident that you need to get, as it's another rare weapon, and by rare I mean really rare, really rare. This took me like an hour or two to get. I would farm that one channeler in the Duke's archives. Was it 1 or 2? I don't remember. But yeah, it took a while. I think it's like a 1% drop rate. You'll also be needing to make use of your boss weapons. I mean boss souls. So to turn them into the boss weapons, don't spend them on souls because that'll be bad. You need to like do a whole extra playthrough because some have multiple weapons that you need to make, or like shields and stuff. And at minimum, you'll be needing to do like 2.5 playthroughs. Another thing is that you need to upgrade a weapon to its max level through every elemental upgrade. So some of that are like fire reinforced, lightning, divine, etc. Get me? It requires you to stock up on a shit ton of like chunks and slabs, and you need to get every type of ember that is available. All of these things, they make Dark Souls 1 for a tough but rewarding platinum. So our runner-up for hardest Souls game to plat is Dark Souls 3. Fuck's sake, I keep left clicking. Dark Souls 3. So when I came up with this idea, I thought Dark Souls 3 would be like take the cake, cause this like grinding in this game is nuts. It flipping traumatized me. I thought it'll take the top spot for sure. But then when I thought about it, I thought the grinding was probably like the only actual like grueling process. So even though it did take me the longest, I still think I might as well put Demon Souls at number 1 because it's no secret right now. But yeah, I still think there's some things in Demon Souls that are harder, which I'll get to. But yeah, the grind is crazy. But even without that, there's still some like difficulty and complicated stuff that you need to go through. Like uh, getting all 107 rings. That's a lot of rings, and you need to go through two extra playthrough, two like new games plus cycles, as well as killing Nameless King on New Game Plus 2, which is yeah, depending on who you are, can be easy, can be hard. Is probably going to be hard, and as well as that, there's the usurpation of fire ending, which is complicated as hell. You you definitely will probably need to look up a guide for that one, which like I did. But the main trouble, obviously, many of us had was the inevitable Covenant grind. I remember it off the back of my head. 10 pale tongues, 10 human dregs, 30 wolf blood sword grass, 30 sunlight meadows, 30 vertebrate shackles, and of course the 30 proof of concord kit. There were so many hours where I was just killing the same enemy over and over and over. Backstabbing nice in Anor Londo, backstabbing nice in Lothric Castle. It's like it became second nature to me, and it felt so repetitive to a point where I feel like I could have done it in my sleep. Even with items like the Symbol of Avest, the Crystal Sage's Rapier, and the Covetous Gold Serpent Ring plus 3, I still felt like it was a huge, enormous chore, and it was so boring as well. Like, this was, I wasn't even watching anything at this point. Like, this was when I would just like watch YouTube videos as well. So it wasn't a complete mind-numbing experience, but it almost got there. And yeah, I feel like I could do Dark Souls 1 again, but this one I wouldn't want to do it again. So, number one, Demon Souls for the PS5, because I haven't played the PS3 version. I don't know if it's different or not, but yeah, the PS5 version of Demon Souls, I think, is the hardest plat to get. This is, for me, is the toughest. For starters, it's the only platinum that you have to play some online. It's required, as you need to help a person out with one of the bosses, and you need to invade someone as well and kill them. I'm not a fan of online trophies, because especially in single player games, since let's say like I didn't play it now, I didn't play it when I played it, and I played it like 10 years down the line when no one else played it and the playbase is dead. It would be more difficult to get the trophies. The other thing is that the Demon Souls has a one and done mechanic, world tendency and character tendency, and this system is confusing as fuck. I can't lie. Like, each boss you kill in human, there's human forms and your non-human form, which happens when you die in the real world, and doing certain actions like killing NPCs can take you towards black world tendency. Helping people out with bosses can take you to pure white world tendency, and it's it's confusing as hell. Like, you need to. I looked it up, like the whole world tendency system, because I didn't want to miss anything out. Because if you do miss something out and you haven't got a backup save or anything, then I'm sorry for you, because that's some painful stuff. Even without world tendency, there's the incredibly convoluted Mephistopheles questline that you need to complete for one of the rings, for the All Rings trophy, and there's the infamous Pure Blade Stone that you need to grind, which I've heard from the PS3 version that that's even rarer to get, and it's already rare as hell in the PS5 version. Even with all this, you still need to dive into New Game Plus at the very least, and fucking hell, it's the biggest difficulty spike between New Game and New Game Plus throughout all the games. I remember going through Valley of Defilement or 5-1 on New Game Plus, and it was beyond fucking miserable. I don't know if it's just me, or like, I think it's one of the hardest things to do in the Souls game. Like, the enemies, you have to kill the enemies. You can't, like, it's very difficult to just run past them. So it's definitely one of the most difficult things that I've done. And so for those reasons, I think I'm right with, in my opinion, for putting Demon Souls in this number one position. Take it, man. Flipping. It's the thing about this plot is, though, I like it more than Dark Souls 3, because Dark Souls 3 was just so like boring, whereas Demon Souls, it was, you had to plan strategically. Well, there we have it. Each game ranked from easiest to hardest based on its platinum trophy. Whether you agree or disagree, I hope you enjoyed my video. It's my first video, so uh, please allow like all the stuttering and stuff. I hope I get better. If you want to comment your thoughts and discuss anything like how I can improve or just your thoughts on the ranking, on the games in general, go ahead and do it. Leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you want more content. And I'll see you next time.